What if I told you that one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, a man who commands franchises and makes millions, was once a college dropout living in a van in Hawaii, surviving by selling coupons? That he was the chubby, lovable goofball on a TV sitcom, who everyone liked but no one saw as an action hero. This isn't a Hollywood fairy tale, this is the real, raw, and remarkably resilient story of Chris Pratt. His journey is a rollercoaster of second chances, incredible discipline, and a whole lot of charm. This is the history of how an ordinary guy became an extraordinary star. Welcome to the incredible story of Chris Pratt. Our story begins in the small city of Virginia, Minnesota, on June 21, 1979. Christopher Michael Pratt was the youngest child of Kathleen and Dan Pratt. His mother worked at a supermarket, and his father was a gold miner. Life in Minnesota was simple, but when Chris was 7 years old, his parents moved the family to Lake Stevens, Washington. It was here, in the Pacific Northwest, that a young Chris Pratt began to shape his identity. He was an energetic kid, obsessed with sports, especially wrestling. He wasn't the most academically gifted student, his energy was channeled into physical activity and making people laugh. He was the class clown, the guy who used humor to connect. In high school, he was a popular and talented wrestler, but his dreams didn't yet extend to the bright lights of Hollywood. After graduating, he attended a local community college but dropped out after just one semester. He was adrift, working odd jobs, including as a stripper at a Bubba Gump Shrimp Company restaurant, a funny anecdote he'd later share. He was, by his own admission, a bit lost. Then, fate intervened in the most unexpected way. While waiting tables at a restaurant in Maui, Hawaii, where he was literally living in a tent and then a van, he was discovered by actress and director Rae Dawn Chong. She was there filming a low-budget horror comedy called Cursed Part 3. The story goes that Pratt was goofing around, being his naturally hilarious self, and Chong saw something special in him, the raw, unpolished charisma. She offered him his first acting role on the spot. Just like that, the guy who was scraping by was the lead actor in a movie. The film was terrible, and it went straight to video, but it lit a fire in Pratt. He moved to Los Angeles, determined to give acting a real shot. The early years were a classic struggle. He took small roles wherever he could find them. You might have spotted him in an episode of The Huntress, or in a TV movie called The Extreme Team. He was just another handsome face in the crowd, trying to get his big break. That break came in 2009, in the form of a clumsy, lovable, and endlessly optimistic character named Andy Dwyer on a new NBC sitcom, Parks and Recreation. Originally, Andy was meant to be a short-term guest role. But Chris Pratt was so funny, so genuinely endearing, that the show's creators had no choice but to make him a series regular. For 7 seasons, Andy Dwyer became a cultural icon. He was the man-child who lived in a pit, fronted the Mouse Rat Band, and had a heart of gold. Pratt's physical comedy was brilliant. He wasn't afraid to look silly, to be the butt of the joke. He was the chubby, sweet, and hilariously incompetent underdog that everyone rooted for. This role made him a household name, but it also put him in a box. In the public's eye, Chris Pratt was Andy Dwyer. And Andy Dwyer was not an action hero. But behind the scenes, Pratt had a burning ambition to break out of that mold. He started taking on small roles in bigger films, testing the waters. He was in Jennifer's Body, Moneyball, and The 5-Year Engagement. People were starting to see a new side of him, but the real turning point, the moment that would change his life forever, was a grueling audition for a movie that would become a galactic phenomenon, Guardians of the Galaxy. The director, James Gunn, was skeptical. How could the chubby guy from Parks and Rec be Star-Lord, an intergalactic outlaw and hero? But Pratt walked into the audition with a completely new look. He had undergone a dramatic physical transformation, losing a significant amount of weight and gaining muscle. He nailed the audition, blending the humor and heart that made Andy great with a new layer of leading man swagger. He got the part. The world was about to meet a new Chris Pratt. To become Peter Quill, Star-Lord, Pratt had to push his body to its absolute limit. He followed a brutal workout regimen and a strict diet, transforming his body into that of a superhero. When the first Guardians of the Galaxy trailer dropped, the world was stunned. This wasn't the Andy Dwyer they knew. This was a charismatic, funny, and surprisingly ripped space adventurer. The film was a massive, runaway hit in 2014. Critics and audiences loved it. Pratt was praised for his perfect blend of comedic timing, emotional depth, and action hero credibility. Overnight, Chris Pratt became a bona fide movie star. The chubby TV sidekick had officially graduated to Hollywood's A-list. Hollywood wasted no time in capitalizing on this new star power. The very next year, in 2015, he starred in 2 of the biggest blockbusters of the year. First, he took on the iconic role of Owen Grady in Jurassic World. He was now the lead in a legacy franchise, sharing the screen with dinosaurs. The film shattered box office records, proving he could open a huge movie. Then, he showed his dramatic chops in the Oscar-nominated film, The Magnificent Seven, holding his own against acting heavyweights like Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke. He was no longer just a comedic actor, he was a versatile leading man. But his professional highs were accompanied by personal challenges. For years, Pratt was married to actress Anna Faris, and they were considered one of Hollywood's most beloved couples. They met on the set of the movie Take Me Home Tonight and married in 2009. In 2012, they welcomed their son, Jack, who was born prematurely and faced significant health issues early in his life. This was a profoundly difficult time for Pratt, and he has often spoken about how it tested and ultimately strengthened his faith. In 2017, after 8 years of marriage, Pratt and Faris announced their separation, a news that saddened many of their fans. It was a very public and painful chapter in his life. However, he soon found love again. He began dating author Katherine Schwarzenegger, daughter of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver. Their relationship moved quickly, and they married in 2019. Together, they have built a very private and, by all accounts, stable family life, welcoming 2 daughters. This new chapter in his personal life seems to have brought him a great sense of peace and grounding, often reflected in his public statements about faith and family. With his personal life settled, his professional dominance continued. He returned as Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and the Avengers sequels, Infinity War and Endgame. In Endgame, which became the highest-grossing film of all time, his character played a pivotal, emotionally charged role. He also lent his voice to the beloved character Barley Lightfoot in Pixar's Onward. But perhaps his most anticipated role was yet to come. In 2023, he stepped into the shoes of one of the most iconic characters in all of pop culture, Mario, in The Super Mario Bros. Movie. When his casting was announced, the internet erupted with mixed reactions, as it often does. But when the film was released, it was a colossal success, breaking numerous animation box office records. Pratt's cheerful, everyman voice performance won over many skeptics and introduced him to a whole new generation of fans. So, what is the style and essence of Chris Pratt? What makes him so appealing? It's a unique alchemy. First, there's the everyman quality. Despite being a mega star, he never seems unapproachable. He feels like a guy you could have a beer with. This is a direct carryover from his Andy Dwyer days. Second, there's his incredible physical discipline. His body transformations for roles are legendary, showcasing a level of commitment that commands respect. He is a true action star in the classic mold. Third, and perhaps most importantly, is his humor. Chris Pratt never takes himself too seriously. Whether it's a hilarious Instagram post, a funny interview, or his witty banter in films, his comedic talent is the secret sauce that makes him so relatable and watchable. He's a superhero who isn't afraid to be a goofball. His life off-screen is a blend of rugged outdoorsmanship and devoted family man. He is an avid hunter and fisherman, often sharing his adventures in the wild. This isn't just a hobby, it's a core part of his identity, connecting him to his Minnesota roots. He's also famously open about his Christian faith, which he credits for helping him through his toughest times. He is a doting father to his 3 children, and his social media is filled with heartfelt tributes to his wife, Catherine. This combination of macho outdoorsman and soft-hearted family guy makes him a uniquely compelling figure. But his journey hasn't been without controversy. Some of his social media posts have been misinterpreted, leading to online criticism. He's been accused of supporting certain organizations, which he has politely but firmly clarified. He has navigated these public relations challenges with a generally calm and measured response, focusing on his work and his family. It's a reminder that life in the spotlight is never simple, and every star faces their share of storms. From a van in Hawaii to the pinnacle of Hollywood, Chris Pratt's story is a modern-day epic. It's a testament to the power of seizing an opportunity, the strength required for personal transformation, and the magic that happens when talent meets relentless hard work. He broke out of the box the world put him in and redefined himself on his own terms. He is the unlikely hero, both on and off the screen. He is Peter Quill saving the galaxy, Owen Grady taming raptors, and Mario saving the Mushroom Kingdom. But at his core, he remains that charismatic kid from Washington who never gave up on his dream, and in doing so, inspired millions to believe in their own second acts. If you were captivated by the incredible journey of Chris Pratt, then you need to dive into the histories of your other favorite stars. We unravel the fascinating stories behind the fame. So, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. Tell us in the comments below, which Chris Pratt role is your absolute favorite. Until next time, keep exploring the stories that shape our world. This is Celebrity History CHV, signing off.